Yes, ma'am. Now I know how to hold a microphone. I are smarter. Are we ready? Ready or not? We'll just go ahead and start. Okay. Deputy Chief David Ryle.
Hello. Okay, I got to get used to the mic. Okay, I'm going to walk around because I don't stand still very well. Okay, so I will walk around, but I want to thank Tim for inviting me over here today, and thank you all for allowing me to come worship with you, and then talk to you as well today. We'll talk a little bit about. I won't take too much of your time, but we'll talk about wildfire, a little bit about my fire department, and how we can prepare for wildfire, okay? Hopefully you can see the presentation up front. It's not too many slides. Usually I don't do PowerPoint presentations. I find them very boring. But this one I made an exception. So again, my name is David Ryle. I am the Deputy Chief at Northeast Teller County Fire here in Woodland Park. Is everybody here from Woodland Park area? Ish? Ish, except for Tim. Okay, can you go to the next slide, please? Maybe. Yet another reason why I don't usually do PowerPoint presentations. They never work for me. And now we're talking about Christmas, okay? It's only a few months away. All right, there we go. So the next slide, this is more probably for my information so I can see what I'm doing. This is like a 2-hour presentation that I am narrowing down to about 15 minutes. Okay? So Northeast Teller County Fire is one of 2 full-time career fire departments in Teller County. The other one is Cripple Creek. Down there, they are a municipality. They are run by the city down there. And then we also have volunteer fire departments throughout Teller County. We have Florissant Fire, which is volunteer, 4 Mile Fire, Divide, Victor, and then we are also supported in Teller County by Lake George Fire to the west. I gotta get my directions straight. To the north, Mountain Communities in Douglas County, and then to the east, Green Mountain Falls. They help us out quite a lot. So we have 15 firefighters that are full-time paid firefighters with Northeast Teller. Then we have 13 part-time firefighters. And those firefighters are also firefighters somewhere else in the community. So they might be at Colorado Springs or Denver Fire. They come up and they work for us part-time. We have a fire chief, which is not me. And I don't want to be the fire chief. I am the deputy chief. We have an executive assistant as well as an emergency vehicle technician that works on all the trucks for every fire department in Teller County as well. So that's a little bit about us. We have, next slide. We cover about 87 square miles with one fire station. Our crews work, we have 5 people on per day. If we have a part-time person, it's 6, but we run out of 1 fire station, 87 square miles. We go up to the north to Douglas County. We go to the east to El Paso County. South, we go just beyond the Catamount Reservoirs. And then to the east, about mile marker 280, which is Johnston's Hill, I believe. Tell me if I said that right, because I'll get that wrong. I don't know either. I've only been here about a year. So I came from Summit County up at Breckenridge, Red, White, and Blue Fire. I was there for 7 years, and then prior to that, 20 years in Hutchinson, Kansas. So a little bit different for me. It's a culture shock. So, well, what we want to do today is, next slide. We're going to talk about wildland firefighting, or wildland fires, I should say. And that is one of the biggest fire issues that we have in Colorado, obviously. We live in this wonderful thing called the wildland-urban interface. You guys may have heard of that term. That's where wilderness meets urban sprawl, okay? That is basically us right here in Teller County in Woodland Park, where houses, if you look right behind us, we have national forest. We have national forest almost all around us, right? And so we have to do our part to help out with mitigating wildfires in this county and this state. Right now, if you look at California, they're burning like crazy, okay? If we look up north of Denver, they had some good fires. South of us had some good fires. East of us had some good fires, and obviously in the west, we always have good fires. Luckily, in Teller County, in the last couple years, we haven't had too much. We've had the Waldo Canyon fire. Who lived through that? Almost everybody here. Pretty scary situation right there. One of the biggest in Colorado history. We had Black Forest fire. You guys remember that one? Yeah. What else? We had Hayman fire. Yes, you guys remember that one? It's really scary. And then we've had the Cameron Peak fire. If you guys remember that one, that was a pretty big one more recently. And the East Troublesome fire. I actually knew some people who were on the fire department that lost their homes in the East Troublesome fire, okay? It can happen to the best of us, right? But what can we do to help the fire departments help ourselves, right? And what can we do to minimize the risk to our property and ourselves, okay? Next slide. First thing you can do, and this is something that Chief Lambert and I really want to put out to people, is identifying your house. We can't help you if we don't know where you live, right? One of the biggest problems that we have in Teller County, actually it's nationally, is people's houses aren't identified with numbers, okay, that we can see. Even when I moved into my house here in Woodland Park, I had little tiny numbers on the tree. It's hard to see the little picture up there, but there was black numbers on a tree. I couldn't even see it. If you look at Google Maps on my house, I live over on Shady Crest Circle. If you Google my house, it will take you to the road behind me that goes alongside Columbine Elementary. Every time I watch UPS, I watch Amazon, they all go down that way because it doesn't take me to my house, okay? So first thing I had to do was put a good sign in front of my house so people can see my addresses. And believe it or not, my cul-de-sac, I have no rhyme or reason how the numbering system works on that cul-de-sac. Numbers jump all over the place. So help us help you so we can see. It does happen. Right. One thing we do at Northeast Teller County Fire, most fire departments do it, we offer a signage program. I'm sorry? Ours are posts. They look like posts, brown posts. Some departments use like a green sign with reflective numbering on them, but we offer it usually a donation of $20, which covers the cost of just the sign. You fill out an application. We'll actually come and install it at your property. So we know where to go. We know which houses to go to. Another thing we always have problems with, especially in Teller County, is access to your house. We can't provide help to you, or we can, but it's going to take us a while if we can't access your house. How many people live outside of the city? How many people have long driveways, right? Driveways need to be about 16 feet wide, 12-foot driving area, 2 foot on each side, and then 13 feet of clearance high. Because how many people have seen our rigs? They're pretty tall. Some of them are. If we can't get up to your house, it's going to take us extra time to lay hose down to your house. In a wildfire situation, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if we have a wildfire coming and we are set to protect a house, we might not be able to protect your house if we can't get our rig up to it, because we're not going to lay hose down your long driveway if a wildfire is coming, because we can't protect our hose along the way. Okay, so we usually try to bring our rigs right up to the house to protect that house. Okay, make sure we can have some clearance to get up your driveway. Okay, next slide, please. All right, it's hard to see this. All you have to do is Google mitigation, fire mitigation, wildfire mitigation on Google, whatever, and you'll see 100 of these pictures up here. There's also a couple pamphlets that I gave Tim. They're out here in your foyer that have the exact same pictures in it. But it has zones around your house that we want to keep clear. The first zone is right up next to your house, 0 to 5 feet around your house. And we call that the no combustion zone. We don't really want anything combustible in that zone. No decorative bark. The reason being is if you ever notice a wildfire, what starts the houses on fire is not necessarily the wildfire. It's embers and sparks that come down. So if you have leaves and pine needles piled up around your house in the valleys of your roof, okay, in your gutters, those embers can land in those and start your house on fire. The fire department does have a list of products. If you have a house that's stained, we have a list of products that are limited combustible or fire resistive materials that you can stain your house with or paint your house with, or types of materials that you can put on the side of your house if you're building a house, or you get to change siding every once in a while. I don't do it. I live in a log home, so I choose a fire resistive type stain for my house. And we have a list of that. If you need that, you just call us at the fire station, okay? We can get you that list. The next zone, from 5 feet to 30 feet, we call that the lean, clean, and green area. We want it nice and clean. Grasses are wonderful, live grasses, green grasses, sparse trees. And if you think about that, 30 feet is not very far. Okay, 30 feet is probably me to the back of the room, if that. Okay, 10 yards. Limited trees, limited shrubbery, and we're trying to make it so nothing gets across that ground. No fire gets across the ground. This is a great area that we try to pick up pine needles as well. We have a pine needle program, which we'll get to in the next slide, that we offer to people of Teller County. Okay. After that, 30 feet, 10 yards, we have the 30 to 100 foot zone. That is the fuel reduction zone. We call trees and anything that can burn, we call that fuel in the fire service. It's just one of our industry terms. And so in that area, we want to limb up our trees pretty tall, and we want to get rid of any type of what we call ladder fuels. And ladder fuels are anything, if there's a ground fire, it can climb up those ladder fuels and get into the trees. Fun fact, we can't fight fires that are in the trees. We can fight fires that are on the ground. If they get up in the trees, guess what? We got to call in aircraft. That's millions and millions of dollars to get that kind of equipment in there. And once you get it in the trees, it's really hard to stop, okay? But in that 30 to 100 foot zone, if we can kind of sparse out those trees where they're not igniting, if they do get into the crown of the trees, they're not so close together, we can reduce that fuel before it gets to your house. It makes it a lot easier to protect your house that way, okay? Go to the next slide, please. All right, Netco, every year, we partner with, well, this year they changed the name of the company. It's now Apex Waste Solutions. A lot of you guys use them for your trash disposal. We partner with them. This year they gave us 9 30-yard dumpsters That's a lot, you know, those really huge dumpsters. And we had a free pine needle collection at our fire station. We ran out of those 9 dumpsters in about 3 days. Then our fire department ended up buying 2 more. These are at a cost of like $300 to $400 a piece. And so we bought 2 with our fire department. The city of Woodland Park bought 2 more. Teller County bought 2 more. So we ended up with 15. We could have filled literally 30 dumpsters. But it's a great place to bring your pine needles, your leaves, and pine cones. Bag them up, bring them in by the truckload, doesn't matter, dump them in the bins. It's a great way to get rid of pine needles from that 0 to 5 area zone, that non-combustible zone, or your 5 to 30. Yeah. They are not available. We only do it for about a week. Yes. Yes, one time each year. Other than that, then you have to do like I do and put 1 bag in my garbage can, 2 bags beside it, okay? Believe me, I just finally got rid of about 30 bags of pine needles because I don't think they cleaned pine needles at my house in years. But now it's nice. The great thing about cleaning up pine needles is that pine needles make the ground, I think it makes it very acidic. Is that correct? Right? And so when you get rid of those pine needles, it offers new growth. And new growth is kind of a double-edged sword in a way. Number one, it stays green and fire doesn't burn very well in green grasses. But as it grows taller, that grass dies, so we need to manage that, right? And keep it shorter. But it's better than pine needles on the ground. Pine needles burn very fast, okay? Go to the next slide, please. The next thing that we offer, and this is Teller County wide, Green Mountain Falls, mountain communities. Teller County bought a chipper a few years back, and every fire department in Teller County, mountain communities, and Green Mountain Falls has weeks that they utilize that chipper, and their firefighters will go around and chip your limb piles. If you do maintenance on the trees and limb up the trees, we'll come out, you pile them out by the road in a 5 by 5 by 5 pile, we'll come and chip it. The guys love going out and doing that. That is all summer. So like for Netco, our last time is the end of September, early October. And then we'll do, I think there's some time in November that we do. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. So how you get on that list is whatever district you live in, you call the fire station. At our district, you call our fire station, you ask for Chief Lambert. He makes the list. So he is the list master, so to speak. So get on that list. He'll tell you when we're coming out. It'll be sometime during that week that we have the chipper available. So it's a great resource for Teller County, and the response has been amazing. So, and the next slide. Oh, okay. That's a good question. We actually leave the chips. The chips go right back onto your property. But what we're doing is reducing a pile that's that tall to a pile that's about like this. And half the time you can't even tell that we spread pine or chips. Yeah, a lot of times we'll disperse them. Sometimes if you live in town, it turns into a pile. But it's not a very big pile. Okay? Unfortunately, the chipping program is after the pine needle collection. So the next thing we can do is create lists for ourselves. And this is for anybody. Be prepared for wildfires. In our situation that we live in, we have to be prepared. I was telling you about a friend of mine who lost her house. She worked for a fire department up in Grand. She lost her house in the East Troublesome Fire. She was not prepared. And being prepared is just putting together items. And you can go to Walmart, you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and get one of those little plastic tubs. And you can prepare yourself to have a go kit. Have some extra clothes in there. If you have pets, put some pet food in it. Batteries. Cash is a big key. You know, when people get dispersed, they go out to every ATM they can find if they have power, and they withdraw money. It's better just to have cash on hand, right? In my go kit, I have a tub at home with dog food, 3 days worth. I have extra clothes for myself and my wife. I have batteries. I have flashlights. I have a radio. Of course, I always carry a radio anyway. Anything that I might need, I have some cash in that tub. But one thing I don't keep in that tub is important documents that I need. I don't keep my medication in that tub. I don't keep family photos in that tub because I like to have them around the house. So what I also do is I put a list inside that tub, a checklist. And this up here, the picture, you can't hardly see it, but that's from FEMA. You can go on FEMA's website. You can look at these right here. Each one of these has a checklist in it, okay? Look at those checklists. I put on my checklist family photos in the living room. I know exactly which ones I'm going to get. Family photos in the living room, family photos in my office, in my bedroom. I go to my important documents, my passport, my birth certificates, social security cards, anything like that. I keep it in my fire safe, but they're all bundled together, so it's a quick grab. No. I'm going to tell you what, if you have a fire safe, and there's nothing against, those actually work pretty good in a regular house fire. The East Troublesome Fire, my friend's house, she had 3 fire safes. None of them held up. Everything in them, gone. They just didn't, that was the perfect storm. And it was so hot, it melted those fire safes. So it can happen. That's why I grab those important documents. My medications, I do the little, anybody do the little daily things? I have to do it, otherwise I forget, can't remember if I took my medication or not. I fill those up every week, and then my wife and I have our medications, we put it in a little baggie up in the cupboard, so I know to grab that baggie and just take it with me. That's all part of my checklist. I could probably evacuate my house in under 15 minutes. And it takes some practice, but you can do it. The last thing I want to leave with you is don't wait for an evacuation order, okay? How many people ever heard of the Camp Fire in California? You ever heard of the town of Paradise, California? People died in their cars. When I worked up in Summit County, one of the fire chiefs did the investigation on that fire. That's a town much like Woodland Park. And people perished in that fire trying to get out of that town in their cars because they waited till the last minute to evacuate. You don't have to wait for an evacuation order. Leave. If you know it's coming, it's getting close, leave. You don't have to wait for that evacuation order, because what's going to happen is when the evacuation order hits, usually what happens is a pre-evacuation. People start getting ready, and then they say evacuate. Everybody leaves at the exact same time. It causes traffic jams, okay? Not only is that hazardous for you, it's hazardous for us as responders. We can't get where we need to go when the roads are all blocked. So think about that. Get out early, get out fast. When you leave, I see Tim's got one. We've got some out here, little evacuation tags. Again, help us help you. If you leave your house, hang one of these tags on your door. It's great. Maybe a number on the back that you can be reached. Okay, if we have questions, we need to reach you. Fill this out really quick, hang it on your door. That lets us know, and it's primarily going to be our sheriff officers that are going to be doing evacuations. They can say, okay, they've evacuated. They don't have to spend their time looking through your house, making sure everybody's out, because they will. They'll go through every room of your house to look for people. because some people are bedridden. They don't know. So, left a couple of these pamphlets out in the foyer. Grab one. If you need one, come by the fire station. I've got tons. Okay? These give you great checklists. It gives you great ideas on how to mitigate around your house. Okay? All right. That's all I have. Next slide, please. Hard to see it. You can call the fire station. Phone number is 1866-719. I forget it. I don't ever call. You can call me. Again, my name is David Ryle. I am the deputy chief. You can call me anytime. Okay, I'm there Monday through Friday. Our people are there 24/7. Okay. We also have our website, www.netellerfire.org. Has a lot of great information on it. So feel free to look that up. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give us a holler. But that's all I have for you. Yeah. Oh, question. Yeah, if it's a concrete house, that's awesome. Stucco siding, it doesn't matter if it's a wood frame construction, fire and embers will find a way to that combustible material, usually. Obviously, shake shingles are hopefully a thing of the past. Some people still have shake shingle roofs. Embers love that because they hide up in the nooks and crannies and then they burn, okay? Asphalt shingles and metal roofs are great. Embers can land on those. They're not necessarily going to ignite unless you have piles of needles or debris around that can ignite first, okay? But outside of that, you know, I have a log home, and so I have to go through and I have to make sure all the cracks are filled. And that, I don't know if anybody's got a log home in here. When they say it's maintenance, and I'm too cheap to go hire it done, so I go out there on the ladder and I do it myself, and my wife just sits there and watches me and laughs at me. But I have to fill all the cracks with caulking. Gable vents, yes. A lot of times people don't have wire mesh on the inside of their gable vents. Embers can fly right through, even with the wire mesh sometimes, can fly through and get into your attic. And dryer, yes, absolutely. Some of those things are, you can't avoid, but.
I'm not going to cover that next one. But yes, what we do have evacuation forms out there that if you fill it out, for you or someone you know that might need help evacuating, or during the winter we get 4 feet of snow, they may need assistance. If you fill those out, you give them to the fire department, those are on file so they know what people need help in these instances.
Right. And that is typically the county that has that information. The Department of Public Health carries that information, so we know who needs assistance in evacuation. It's a great thing. Sign up for peak alerts. How many people have signed up for peak alerts on their phone? Okay, you get nice little alerts every time something major is going on. What else we got? Oh, there is an app, and I always forget the name of it, my bad. Watch Duty. Watch Duty. You can pull it up, and it will tell you every fire in the state of Colorado, and as well as the United States, in the world, basically. If they call, you're going to find some areas that you won't see fires. They have to be kind of logged into this network. But for Mississippi, from the Mississippi west, you're going to see a fire. It'll tell you how big the fire is. It'll show a map of the fire. It will show you how much of it has been contained. And it is updated on a regular basis. Very, very quick. Yes. I highly encourage you to download those apps. Do you have another one?
And you can get, one of the selections on there, you can get wind directions.
Yes.
So you have a big fire, and say it's near you, well, which way is the wind blowing if we're feeding it or anything? Pretty valuable information.
Yeah, very much. Do you guys have any questions for me?
We had a Red Cross lady come to our senior center
Uh-huh.
2 weeks ago with some players. And one thing that spoke to me was, get your car out of the garage in case power goes out.
Right. That is a great point. And if you have a garage door opener, you'll always see that little cord hanging down. If you pull that, you can be able to lift it. But sometimes it's hard to lift. Okay? So that is a great point. Get that car out so you can evacuate. It sure is. It sure is. Any questions? Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Know your area. Yep. One thing we work with in the county is working with an organization called CUSP, if you ever heard of CUSP. They are working with going through areas, and fire departments are going into neighborhoods, and we're surveying areas and identifying which are the high hazard neighborhoods that we have due to limited means of egress. I think where you live is pretty limited. You've got Rampart Range, and that's about it. You could go out down towards the springs out that way, but that's a pretty rough ride. Okay, some places out in Florissant, it's a 2-track, and that probably hasn't been cleared in years. So you have to know your ways out. And like I said, don't wait for that evacuation order, because those little areas, or bad areas, are going to get clogged up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you for bringing that up, because we will do the exact same thing. If you call us up, if you're wondering, hey, what do I need to do to mitigate my property? You can call us up. We will set up a time to come out and look at your property. Okay, we're not going to say, oh, if you do this, your house will not burn. Okay, but we will give you pointers and say, I would clean this area up. I would mitigate half the trees in this area. Okay, we'll give you pointers on things to do to help you out with that. And every fire department will do that out here. All you have to do is call the chiefs or myself. In Guffey? That's Eric's job. Yes.
No, our insurance company said they want to do a third-party mitigation assessment.
Uh-huh.
So if you swing by and brainstorm with me, I already have in mind a lot of things to do.
Absolutely.
If you see some extra things, like get it done.
And understand that third party is not, when they do that, the insurance companies, that's not us. That comes out and does it. They have a totally different company that comes out. And insurance companies are a beast of their own. Okay? and every one of them has their own idea of what's fire safe and what's not. Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's awesome. That's a great one. But yeah, in today's world, people are getting dropped with their insurance companies left and right. And I don't know how new people are coming into town and getting insurance. I really don't sometimes. We've got.
Looking for excuses to drop.
They are. It's turn.
This was perfect for 10 years, and all of a sudden, they told me it failed. No new tree screw.
Right.
About 10 feet everywhere,
Any other questions? Well, thank you for sitting in. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to me.